5 smooth stones. Why 5? No king is saved by the size of his army. No warrior escapes by great strength. Our soul waits for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. For our heart rejoices in him, because we trust in his holy name. The armies of Israel were in peril, and David had been directed by an angel to save his people. While he kept watch over his father's flock, David's 3 older brothers gathered 15 miles away on a battlefield, ready for war. The Philistine army stood on a hill facing the Israelite army that stood on the opposite hill, and all that lay between them was a narrow valley. They were evenly matched, these 2 armies, and each waited for the other to sound the battle cry and attack. But instead, something frightening happened. Out from among the Philistine soldiers stepped a man so tall he hardly seemed like a man, but a man he was, a giant of a man, a champion of war, and his name was Goliath. On his head he wore a bronze helmet, and his body was covered with metal armor, and he carried a huge sword, spear, and javelin. And in front of him walked a man with a great shield. All in all, Goliath looked less like a soldier than a fortress with legs, a towering machine with deadly weapons. Why set whole armies against each other? I am a Philistine, one man. Choose one man from your side, and let the 2 of us fight. If he kills me, we'll be your slaves. If I kill him, you'll be our slaves. Who dares to fight me? King Saul's soldiers were enraged by the giant's challenge, but because they had no one equal to Goliath, no one as tall and as strong, they were afraid. The army of Israel were depressed. Their courage failed. They said one to another, "Have you seen this man that has come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up." Then David exclaimed, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God?" For 40 days the host of Israel had trembled before this haughty challenge of the Philistine giant. Morning and evening Goliath had approached the camp of Israel, saying with a loud voice, "I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. Choose you a man." King Saul sent for David, curious to know why this young man was asking so many questions. "Your servant will go and fight this Philistine." "You mean you?" "Why not? You can't fight Goliath. You're a boy, a shepherd. Nearly all his life that giant's been a soldier." "Doesn't matter. God is on my side. You see, when I tended my father's sheep, lions and bears attacked, and I killed them. God protected me and gave me strength. And he'll do the same when I fight this Philistine." "All right, David," said King Saul. "Go, and may God be with you." King Saul clothed David with his own garments of war, his helmet and armor and sword. But they had been made for Saul, a grown man, tall and broad-shouldered, and David could barely walk or move in them, let alone fight. And so he took them off. "I didn't want them anyway," David said to himself. "God will be my armor and my strength." He picked up his shepherd's staff and gathered 5 smooth stones from the brook. Dropping them into his shepherd's bag, he grabbed his leather sling and went to face the giant. The giant strode boldly forward, expecting to meet the mightiest of the warriors of Israel. His armor-bearer walked before him, and he looked as if nothing could withstand him. As he came nearer to David, he saw but a stripling, called a boy because of his youth. "Am I seeing things? Is that a boy? A child with pink cheeks and a stick? Did you expect to wave your stick and chase me away like a dog? I am Goliath, mighty as I am tall, And by all my Philistine gods, I curse you. Come and fight me, and I'll feed your body to the birds and to the wild animals. Oh, you're big, all right. And you talk big because you think you're going to win by your size and your sword and spear and with the shield. But my God's going to show you that's not how his battles are won. No? Well, send your God out here. I'd like to see him. Well, you won't see him with your eyes, but everyone will know that he's with me and with the army of Israel that you've mocked. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, because I'm going to strike you down and cut off your head. And I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saves not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. Enough words, little boy. Come and fight. You come to me with a sword, a spear, and a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord. With these words, David ran to meet his enemy. Plunging his hand into his shepherd's bag, he drew out a stone and tucked it into his sling. Then, still running, he swirled the sling over his head, round and round, faster and faster, then suddenly let it fly and smote the Philistine in the forehead. Oh! That the stone sucked into his forehead, and he fell on his face to the earth. Amazement spread among the lines of the two armies. They had been confident that David would be killed. But when the stone went whizzing through the air, straight to the mark, they saw the mighty warrior tremble and reach forward with his hands as if he was struck with sudden blindness. The giant reeled and staggered, and he fell like a smitten oak, and fell face first to the ground. David did not wait an instant. He sprang upon the prostrate form of the Philistine, and with both hands holding Goliath's heavy sword, he then cut off his head. God used his enemy's own sword against him. God provided the sword. But let me ask you, why did David choose 5 stones? I mean, had he planned to meet some more giants? Yet, this is the answer. You see, yet again, there was war at Gath. There was a man of great stature who had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in number. And he also was born to the giant. So when he defiled Israel, Jonathan the son of Shimea, David's brother, killed him. You see, these 4 were born to the giant in Gath, and fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. You see, he had planned to meet other giants. David was prepared. We must be prepared to meet the giants in our lives in these last days by studying and knowing the Bible and the spirit of prophecy, by prayer, trust, and obedience to God. God needs people like David. For 40 days, the host of Israel had trembled before the haughty challenge of the Philistine giant. Morning and evening, giant Goliath would taunt them for 40 days. Interesting. For 40 days, the giant taunted Israel. Jesus was tempted by Satan in the wilderness for 40 days. A stone. David used a stone. That stone represents Jesus. His forehead. The stone struck Goliath in his forehead. You see, it's in the forehead where thoughts were formed against God. Anything that exalts itself against God, Jesus casts down. You see, the Goliath's helmet was made of brass, and it had this false God's picture or stamp on it. We should have on the helmet of salvation. Jesus wants to stamp his name on our forehead. You see, Goliath was filled with amazement and anger. The anger of Goliath was roused to the very highest heat, And in his rage, he pushed up the helmet that protected his forehead and rushed forward to wreak vengeance upon his opponent. You see, pride goes before a fall. Had he not raised his helmet up, the stone could not have struck Giant in his forehead. And he fell on his face. He fell on his mouth. The very same mouth that had cursed God was the very same mouth that God stopped. So, little ones, let's be like David, to have an unyielding confidence, unyielding faith, and an everlasting trust in Jesus. That's why 5 smooth stones were chosen.